As the Wisconsin Supreme Court continues to make headlines, a couple of former justices took a step tonight to try to improve the public's understanding of the court. You may recall earlier this week, Justice Ann Walsh Bradley said that Justice David Prosser put his hands around her neck during an argument about the state's collective bargaining bill. Prosser says it was Bradley who came at him and he was simply defending himself. Now, two justices who served on the state's highest court in the 90s were part of a forum in Madison tonight. Fox 11's Becky DeVries live in Madison this evening. Becky, you talked with the justices. What did they have to say?
Well, Tom, both justices say those people serving on the Supreme Court need to be courteous to one another. Tonight's discussion happened to be scheduled a while back, long before just the allegations against Justice Prosser. Just happened to be rather timely tonight. Both justices say conflict is common on the state Supreme Court, and it needs to be managed respectfully.
I always compare it if you were going to Thanksgiving dinner with all the new in-laws and you were going to discuss the most controversial things you could talk about and try to come to an agreement over the table. And these 7 people come from different backgrounds and different viewpoints, and they have to somehow reach some kind of decision and work together on a decision. That is difficult, and it's difficult in every Supreme Court around the country.
While many around the state know when the Wisconsin Supreme Court issues a decision from time to time, those who have served on it say coming to those decisions is no easy task. Former Justice John P. Wilcox says justices generally work 60 to 70 hours a week, reading, writing, and debating cases with one another.
After you've done the same case 10 or 15 times, it gets very frustrating. Sometimes those frustrations are borne out by some strong language from time to time. And I think that's typical of any Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court on down to the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Wilcox says things can get heated, and there has been tension on the court for years.
Well, I'm disappointed by the current discord, but you must remember that this court has had tensions for probably 3 decades, and I'm aware of those. I was a judge for 28 years, so I have some insight into that. But I'm sorry with what has happened recently.
During a forum in Madison, former Justices Wilcox and Geske spoke with journalists and anyone else who was interested about dynamics on the Supreme Court. Geske says the current court can repair its reputation, and it needs to make sure the general public has faith in its decisions.
I am sure that over the summer and the fall, the individuals on the court will again keep talking to each other and hopefully find some way to make a safe and respectful environment to have very difficult conversations.
Now, Geske also says this time of year in particular is stressful for the court. It's issuing decisions amidst changes in the political world. She says the court knows when infighting becomes public, it is not good for the institution. Live in Madison, Becky DeVries, Fox 11 News.